I'm Doug Saravo, and I'm here to talk to you about faith, life, and death. Good morning. The selfish gene. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. So he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine, and set him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. On the next day, when he departed, he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said to him, "Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, when I come again, I will repay you." So which of these 3 do you think was neighbor to him, who fell among the thieves? Luke 10:33-36. This parable shows us how far we have fallen short of the demands of the moral law. Who of us ever loved our neighbor to this degree? Rather, we were self-willed, self-centered, and self-righteous. The essence of the law is a standard by which we may measure ourselves. It is a moral mirror, and what it reveals is not pleasant. Soul Search. Now that my sins are forgiven, do I love my neighbor to this degree? What can I do to begin loving my neighbor? Father, help me to love my neighbor as myself, and be as concerned for his or for her salvation as I would be for mine. Think about that Bible passage. Are you the Good Samaritan? Are you the one to put other people first? Are you the one to not be selfish? Is that who you are? Are you willing to give someone money without no return? Or do you expect someone to pay you back? If you see someone sitting in the streets homeless, cold, freezing, will you buy a meal for them? Will you go to your local store and buy a blanket for them for the winter? Are you that Good Samaritan? Are you willing to put other people first before yourself? Think about that. Think about your actions. Do you make others feel happy? Do you make others feel at home? And as I give you moments to reflect on that, if it doesn't fit you, maybe it's time to change. Maybe it's time to look in the mirror and figured, I need to worry more about others than I worry about myself. If you look at the world we live in, a lot of people are in it for themselves. Everything has to be their way. They can never do no wrong. Sometimes they have to be right, even when they're wrong. Sometimes they have to get their way so others can be miserable. Think about how you live your life. Think about your actions. We are people filled with sin, so it may be blind to us. But are you willing to speak up and tell people they need to change? Think about that passage. What person will you be today? Will you be that person to make a difference in someone's life? If you see someone in pain, if you see someone struggling, will you forget about all your problems to help someone else? Because all it takes is one person to make a difference in someone else's life. Think about that for a moment. Think about how you can make a difference in someone else's life. Whether it's preaching the Word of God, whether it's being a counselor and giving them advice, whether it's buying them a meal when they're poor, whether it's buying them a blanket when they're cold, living in the streets. A lot of people, it's for themselves. They don't care about anyone else's feelings. You know, when was the last time someone made plans to go feed the homeless instead of getting drunk at a nightclub? Think about that. When was the last time you made plans for that? Let's go to a food bank. Let's go to a city and help the homeless people. When did we ever do that? We always make plans. We always base decisions on ourselves, never for other people. So maybe it's time. Maybe after everything 2020 taught us, maybe that's a wake-up call from God to be a better person in 2021, to not be selfish, to not be greedy, to not be egotistic, to not think we're never wrong. Maybe that's what God is trying to tell us in 2020. To stop being selfish and start serving His people. Maybe. Because a lot of people say, you know, why don't we ever blame God for these issues? It's never God's fault. It's not. But maybe God is trying to wake us up. Maybe He's trying to wake us up. Because we are totally disobeying His words. To honor people, to respect people, to care for people. For real. Look at your actions. Look at the world. Maybe this is supposed to be a huge wake-up call for us from God. Try it. Try being a better person. May that be your 2021 New Year's resolution. Because when we are a good Samaritan to others, God will have a seat for us saved in heaven. Because He wants us to serve His people and not serve ourselves. May God bless you all. I'm Doug Saravo, and I'm here to talk to you about faith, life, and death.